Hello beautiful people, you are welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be learning how to craft an A-line dress that will be free. Like we've seen before, you've seen that the dress is very free. It's not that free from the upside. On the bust side it's not that free. If you get to the waist side to be a little bit free, and when it gets to the hip to be freer, and on the down part it will be very free. So in this video, this is the fabric I'll be using, and as you can see, I'll fold the fabric into two, so you can fold yours into two. Ankara fabric always comes in 45 lengths, but in this tutorial we'll be taking the length from the yardage, not from the length, because the length is for just 45 and the length we are working with is 52 inches. So you see that the length of normal Ankara fabric is not up to the length of the person, so we'll be using by yardage. That is the yardage of the fabric. We will not be using by 45 length, so that you'll be able to get your full length measurement without joining. So let's start. I hope that this explanation is clear, so we can start the video now. So I'll be taking my armhole depth, my bust line, my waistline, and my hip line, then the full length of the dress. The armhole depth I used is 8 inches. If you want to get to armhole depth, all you have to do is to divide your shoulder measurement by 2. The shoulder measurement we are working with is 16 inches. Dividing it by 2 will give us 8 inches. So our armhole depth is 8 inches. Then our bust point is 10, and okay, I'll be using 15. Let me use 15. I think it's more better. 15 for the waistline and 23 for the hip measurement. Then you bring out your full length. The full length I'm working with is 52 inches. So after bringing it out this way, you connect your lines this way. My ruler is short, so I'll just make sure on both sides like this. So as you can see, you see that I've already marked the lines together. So now it's time to bring out our measurement. When you are taking your measurement on the client, take the normal fitted body measurement. Then when you are bringing it out on your fabric, that is when you'll be adding the amount of ease you really want. So on the bust line, our bust measurement is 32. Dividing it by 4 will give us 8 inches. We'll add 1 inch for seam for ease. So 8 plus 1 inch for ease, then plus I normally add 2 inches for seam allowance. We'll be using the same thing for the waistline, because the person's waist and the bust is the same measurement. Then the hip, the person's hip is 35 inches. When we divide that by 4, it will give us 8.75. 8.75 is 8.5 plus 2. These small lines, I don't know if you can see it clearly. When you have 8.5, these small other lines, you take 2 inches to it, then half of the third one will give you 8.75. So you mark 8.75 here. 8.75. You can just make it 9. Remember, always work with the measurements that you have. It may not be exactly the measurement I'm working with, because everybody has their own measurements. Then we add 2 inches for ease plus 2 inches for seam allowance. All in total gave us 13.5. So after bringing out these ones like this, you come to your shoulder line. In this part, all you have to do is to divide your shoulder. Since it's unfold, when you divide your measurement, your shoulder measurement by 2, the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16. Dividing it by 2 will give us 8 inches plus 1 inch that you will use for sewing, for attaching the sleeve. Then after doing that, you bring out your neck width. The neck width is 3.5 inches. I will use 3.5 inches for the width. Then the neck depth, I will use 4 inches. And after doing that, so sorry, you didn't see my measurements. So I use 3.5 inches for the neck width. Then I'll use 3. Then I'll use 4 inches for the neck depth. Then after bringing it out this way, you connect the lines. Connect like this. This is your armhole line. Connect the lines. Then you come, since this is the front fabric, you come back, you find the half of this shoulder, this armpit, the armhole depth. This is the half. So from here you come back by 1/2 inch. So when you are connecting, you connect this way. So you connect this way. If you have your armhole curve, you can use that to do the curving. So after doing that, you draw your lines. So let's get to the full length side. So as you can see, this is my full length measurement. So whatever you have in your hip measurement, we have about 13.5. You add 5 inches to it. That will give you your hip, your down, that is the down part of the gown. We have 13.5 inches on the hip, so add about 5 inches to it. That will give us 18 inches. But you can decide to reduce yours. So after doing that, you connect it to the hip line this way. So after doing this, you see that our lines are complete now, so we can cut. As you can see, you will see that I've cut the front pattern out. So the next thing we're going to do is to place this one on the back part and cut exactly the same thing. Then later on, we'll do some manipulations. So as you can see, you will see that I've placed the front part on top of the back one. We'll also fold the back side into 2. So we'll cut exactly what we have in the front fabric on the back side too. So you see that I've cut it out. The back part we'll be using, on the back neckline we'll be using 1.5 inches for the neckline depth. For the depth of the neckline we'll be using 1.5 inches. Then you connect and cut out. So you see, then after cutting that one out, you come to the shoulder side, come down by 1 inch and connect to this part of your neckline, that is your shoulder slope. Then you trim it out. Then after this, you come to the down part. Come to this down part. You come up by 2 inches is enough. Just come up by 2 inches and curve it this way. This is to enable it to have a little curve on the down part. Then you trim out. So our airline dress is almost ready. We'll be going to the sewing parts now. So we'll be using another fabric to do the patching. We'll be using another color of fabric to do the patching and the neck. The one we'll be placing on the neckline, we'll be using another color of fabric. So I will show you that later. So if you enjoyed this video, kindly notify me at the comment section. Thank you. Bye. So as you've seen in the image, you will see that the black one is on the neckline, the chest, and they use it as patches on the underpart. So if you want to get that effect, that neck effect part, you fold your, this one I will be using white for this pattern. I'll be using white for the neck, for that is I'll be using white material for it, for the patches. So you place your material like this and fold into two, and you place your main fabric, the one you've already, A-line you've already cut out, you place it on it this way and trace the neckline and the shoulder line out. Because it is white, I'll use this marker for it so that you see it clearly. You mark this way. Can you see? I'm marking 5 inches, but I will not use the, okay, I marked 9 inches, but I will not use up to 9 inches, so I'm just using this as a guideline for you. So when you are done marking this way, the next thing you do is you bring the measurement of how wide you want the fabric to be on your main fabric. This one I want it to be just 2 inches, so I will mark 3 inches on the white one, because I'll be using ½ inch for the up and ½ inch for the down, for the turning of the down. Then for the neckline, we'll also mark 3 inches. So I'm marking 3 inches round from this neckline here. So let me mark it. Like you see this black mark neck, this one that we've traced, that is where we are starting our measurements from. So I'll mark it this way. Then you connect. Don't go and use marker on your own. No. I just use this marker so it will be clear for you to see. Then you cut out this way. So you see, this is how it's going to be like when you place it on the main. So you see, this is it. This is how it's going to look like when we are finished sewing it. So you sew this part here. Make sure you iron this part ½ inch inside before sewing it inside. So after cutting this one out, we'll trace the center. The one for the center is just round something, so we'll be that one we'll be placing it on the from, let me say, this is our bust line. We'll use 10 as our bust line. So you bring 1 inches down and mark and come to your under bust. That is where that round one is located. So here we have about 5 inches. So bringing our fabric, we'll fold it this way. We'll fold it this way. So I fold my fabric into 8. That is like this. Now is 2. I fold it into 2 again, and now fold it this way again. So if you count it, you see that 1 2 3 4, and this other one will be 4 pieces. So that is how I fold it, and I marked 3 inches from this edge here. This part that has no opening, that is where you start your measurement from, this tip. So you place your tape this way and mark. Then you cut. So on this particular one, you see that we have two pieces of it, so you use one to line in the other one before placing it on the fabric to be somewhere around here. When you open it, to be this way, to be like this. You now mash it round, then this one you put it here. You see that the effects are coming out already. Then for the other one, the other two, they are just 4 corner something, just 4 corner cut. So let's cut those ones out. So my fabric is still on fold, is still into 2. This one will give us the 2 patches we need. So I will just mark 7.5 inches as the length. The length is 9 inches. The length is 9 inches. Then the width is, let me use 7.5. Okay, let me use 8. I used 8 inches for the width. Then after sewing and everything, it will come back to that 7. Then you cut. You fold 1/2 inch inside this way. You also fold 1/2 inch inside this way. Then on the under, you also fold 1/2 inches inside. Then you place it on it and stitch it together. You start it from 2 inches above your waistline, and the other one will be on the under like this. So the two will be this way. Then the one for the neckline will be on the neck like this. Then the round one will be here. So you see that it is complete. It's complete like this. So this is the end of the video. If you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up